What's up, guys? I'm Jeff Montgomery and welcome to Tax Planning on the Whiteboard. If you like what you hear, make sure you hit subscribe. Retirement planning can sometimes feel like you're swimming in a pool. There's a shallow end where you're just getting started and the deep end where things can get pretty complex. This quick episode is for everyone, whether you're a new retiree or a seasoned pro. We all need a refresher on the basics from time to time, especially when it comes to things like required minimum distributions. So let's take a dip in the shallow end of the pool and go over the top 3 basic concepts of required minimum distributions. Let's go to the whiteboard. Okay, number 1, what age are we supposed to start taking RMDs? When a traditional IRA owner or of a retirement plan reaches a certain age, then lifetime RMDs must begin. That age has been adjusted a few times over the last couple years due to the Secure Act and then later on the Secure Act 2.0. And it will eventually move to age 75 in 2033. To determine which RMD age applies to you, you need to use your date of birth. And we'll sketch this out as follows. If you were born between June 30th, 1949 or earlier, it's the old 70 and a half rule. Now, if you were born July 1st, 1949 to December 31st, 1950, then your RMD age is 72. If you were born January 1st, 1951 to December 31st, 1959, that age moved to age 73. And then finally, if you were born January 1st, 1960 or later, the current age is 75. Could be subject to change. We'll see what Congress does. The first RMD year is the calendar year in which an IRA owner turns one of the ages I just mentioned. It does not matter if the actual birthday is January 1st or December 31st. Let's sketch out an example, and we'll take Mary, who was born October 1st, 1951. So looking at the chart, we discover her RMD age is 73. Which happens to be this year in 2024. So we know Mary is 73 this year and she needs to take an RMD. And that would be her first RMD this year. The RMD can be taken at any time during the calendar year. There is no need to wait until the actual 73rd birthday. In this example, October 1st of 2024 is when she would turn 73. She could take it at any time during this calendar year. But let's repeat that again. The RMD can be taken any time that year, even if it's before her birthday of October 1st, 2024. All right, number 2, the RBD date. All right, so this is a basic concept, different than RMDs. It's called the required beginning date. And it's one of the most misunderstood IRA concepts of all. The first RMD and the first RMD only can be delayed until April 1st of the year after the owner turns 73. This date is known as the required beginning date or RBD date. Now, the purpose of this 3-month delay is to give the first-time RMD takers a little extra time to figure things out. They might not be sure, they might make a mistake. So they give us an extra 3 months until April 1st of the following year. But be forewarned, if the first RMD is delayed until the following year, the IRA owner must take out 2 required minimum distributions in that second year. The first RMD by April 1st and the second by December 31st that year. So if the first RMD is delayed into the next year, guess what? Both will be taxable in that tax year. So here you go. Let's sketch out another example. We'll stick with Mary from the early example. She turned 73 in October of 2024. She could postpone her first RMD until April 1st of 2025. But again, please remember, this is only for the first RMD. She can't do that every single year. She must then take her second RMD by December 31st of 2025. Therefore, actually taking 2 IRA distributions in that one tax year. And depending on the size of Mary's IRA, that could be a significant tax increase come tax time. So make sure you check that out. Now, there are some work plan exceptions. There are no exceptions to the RBD rules for IRA accounts, and that includes SEP IRAs and simple IRAs. However, the RBD date is always April 1st of the year following the year the account owner reaches age 73. So there are some ways to delay RMDs on certain employer plans like 401ks. Now, on this video, in this episode, I don't really have time to go over all the rules on how you can delay 401k required minimum distributions, but I promise we'll cover that in some future videos, so stay tuned for that. We'll talk about employer-sponsored plans like 401ks and 457Bs and 403Bs. Okay, so now the third and final basic concept of required minimum distributions. How do we calculate the amount that is required to be taken? So now that the RBD has been determined and we know the deadline by which the RMD must be taken, we must now calculate how much must be taken. Well, there are really 3 steps involved in this. The first step is to find the correct table from the IRS. The IRS publishes 3 tables. The Uniform Life Table is typically used to determine lifetime RMDs. The Joint and Last Survivor Table is only for the sole purpose of spouse beneficiaries more than 10 years younger than the IRA owner. And the Single Life Table is only for beneficiaries of IRA accounts, typically non-spouse beneficiaries, but not always. We'll explain that in another video. Now, step number 2, find your correct life expectancy factor on the table. So again, most people will use the Uniform Life Table. So if we stick with Mary in our early example, and we look at the Uniform Life Table, we can see that at her RMD age, her factor is 26.5. So now we have the factor. Step number 3, and the final step, is to take that factor and divide it into the December 31st balance of the previous year. This is the RMD amount, and each year this process is repeated and recalculated. So let's kind of sketch out this little example, sticking with Mary from our previous example. So we already know Mary is turning 73 October of 2024. We find her life expectancy factor on the Uniform Life Table is 26.5 at that age. Let's further assume an IRA balance of $500,000 on December 31st, 2023, the year before her RMD age. So if we take $500,000 divided by 26.5, that total ends up being $18,867.93. Now remember, she would have until April 1st of 2025 to take out that very first RMD. But again, as I mentioned previously, that means she would also have to take out a second RMD for 2025. And that may push her into a significantly higher tax bracket and cause more taxation than necessary. A better idea might be for her to take out her first required minimum distribution at any point during the calendar year of 2024. Then go ahead and satisfy her second RMD in 2025, therefore spreading out the tax liability over 2 tax years. That may make a lot of sense for Mary. Now, that's it for this episode of Tax Planning on the Whiteboard. I hope you enjoyed it. These are some really basic steps and basic understanding of RMDs, but I think they're really super important. On our next video, we're going to talk about the 3 steps required to fix a missed RMD. What happens if you miss your RMD? Make sure you hit subscribe to make sure you get that one in your inbox. Also, if you're interested, make sure you click this link below for additional tax planning resources. They're on our website. Just go to this link right here and you can check out all our tax planning resources, and feel free to contact us anytime you need help. Again, I'm Jeff Montgomery, and we'll see you next time on Tax Planning on the Whiteboard.